The main problem that I see that most traders struggle with is their psychology. But everybody says, oh, psychology is the biggest problem, but they don't tell you actually what it is. What truly is the problem of psychology? Psychology is a broad term.
There are so many things you would need to do to become part of the 9%. If it were that easy, everyone would be part of it. And there's a lot of intelligent people making up part of the 91%. But what you do need to do is you need to potentially decide on a strategy that looks after all elements of money management. And we've discussed the risk reward, we've discussed losses. You've got to manage losses, that keeps you in the game. You've got to believe you have a system that will make more than it gives back on its winning. It will win and will lose all the time. No one is ever going to have 100%, so accept that losses are part of the game and manage that. Become as systemic as possible in determining what your setup is.
The profitable trader does not care whatsoever to be right or to understand what the market was doing. The goal of a profitable trader is to simply look, visualize, and react to what the market is showing them. So when I come into the market, I don't care if I'm right. I could flip a coin heads or tails and go long, short, based off of heads or tails, and I could possibly be profitable and make money, but that doesn't matter. What matters is my ability to recognize what is the market showing me and have no attached idea or outcome to it. And I'm not seeking validation from this as well. We have to focus on building profitable habits.
Guys, it really comes down to being able to lose well, controlling your anger, realize you made a mistake, being able to step back away from your trading, take a break, and then reset. When you are staring at the charts all day, forcing trades, that's really not a good place to be. Trading takes patience, it takes time, and it definitely cannot be rushed. There is no holy grail system out there, there is no best strategy, and there is no worst strategy. Ultimately, guys, what's going to come down to is you versus you. That is it.
So what comes to your mind when you think about edge? I bet all you think about is technicals. When someone says, right, my edge, all you're thinking about is your strategy, that's it. You're not realizing that you're the one trading the account. You don't take yourself into consideration. You're just looking at theory. Well, you're not a robot. You're the one who's got to trade it. You're the one trading the funded account. You're the one that has to make a decision based off of how many losses you've just taken, whether you're going to take the fifth trade or not. So you've got to have both on the market. Your technical edge and your psychological edge.
So emotions are a big part of trading. I want to tap into emotions and psychology and how they mix.
Yeah.
How did you let emotions stop you from destroying your trades in your own personal experience?
You just have to understand what emotions are, bro. You gotta understand that emotions are not negative. They are actually what makes you a human. But then they can form a negative package. So if you lose one trade, it's perfectly normal. 2 trades is normal. Whatever you are feeling, you didn't want it to lose, is perfectly normal. However, when you start to now think about things like, oh man, I wish I didn't take the trade. Oh man, I wish I would have stayed in. Especially when it kicks you out and goes your direction. Now you meditating on those basic emotions that you had eventually becomes a complex one and now leads to either regret that will make you now revenge trade and so on and so forth. So understanding that, man, the emotions you feel as a trader is perfectly normal. Don't let it stick for a longer period of time, because anything meditated upon becomes a different way of how you react to it.
So if I had to give my younger self some advice when it comes to my trading career, this is what I would say. The first thing is relax. Relax, 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 okay? Because every new trader that I know, always in a rush. I actually quit my job 3 times, guys, 3 times. It's because I was on a winning streak for maybe 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh man, I'm winning for 2 weeks. If I continue to do this, wow, I can make this much money, and so on. So guess what? Quit my job. And first time I quit my job, it didn't work out. The second time, it didn't work out. The third time, guess what? It didn't work out. So I would tell my younger self, relax. Your time will come. Don't rush the process. Understand that time goes by very fast. You wake up, next thing you know, wow, it's the end of the year and you're still trading. So you have to understand, guys, times go by so quick. So that's the first thing I would tell my younger self.
Every single problem that you have in trading, FOMO, over leveraging, being impatient, being undisciplined, always comes back to the source, which is you are focused on making money. Why are you impatient? Because you want to make money right now. Why are you over leveraged? Because you want to make more money. Why are you over trading? Because you want to make back the money you just previously lost. Every bad decision you do has to do with the expectations and intentions that has been fed into your brain ever since you even started to learn what trading was. Because trading became this idealistic, flashy, glamorous thing in your head that, this is going to make me some money, this is going to give me my life, this is going to give me my freedom, I'm going to drop out, I can do all these things. And it's imprinted into your brain that you've tied now this value to something that shouldn't be having value.
I think anyone starting trading is going to lose money for several years. You're looking for a career that pays a lot of money. Everyone trading wants to make a lot of money. You're competing against extremely smart people, and it's essentially a zero-sum game. So you're trying to take money from really, really smart people who are trying to take money from you. And when you start out, they're going to win. You're going to lose money. But if you have the discipline and you're careful and you learn how to be objective and you try not to be greedy, use stops, use profit targets, I believe it's something that you can do. But I would start really small, and I would be very humble and work very hard on discipline and expect to lose for several years.
You're going to have to learn an edge. You're going to have to acquire a trading methodology that gives you an edge. I'm defining an edge as that there's a higher probability of one thing happening over another. That's what an edge is. We're going to learn the nature of probabilities here in a moment. You're going to have a plan on how you utilize that edge, meaning what the risk is, position size, and profit objectives. Then you're going to have to be able to execute. You're going to have to get to the point where you can execute that edge without making errors. For you to be able to execute that edge without making errors, you're going to have to learn how to trade from a carefree state of mind, meaning you're going to have to aspire to the point where you can trade without fear. And to trade without fear, you're going to have to learn how to think in probabilities.
I hadn't seen that one coming, and I certainly hadn't seen that one coming either. But that's the nature of the game that we're playing. Now, do I think that charts is the holy grail? No, I like charts. I could devour 10, 12 hours every single day, a bit more in the weekend if you allow me to. If there's no lawn to be mown or windows to be polished, I am quite happy to sitting devouring endless reams of stock charts that I analyze, purely to train my mind. But I'm also fully aware of the way my mind works. And my mind is not my best friend when it comes to highly profitable trading.
When I got stopped out, I'd just panic. And when I had a big win, I'd just panic, right? It was like I wasn't even trading the market anymore. I was just trading my feelings. And I guess that kind of mental chaos, there's really no space for consistency, right? It's just noise. But you know what frustrated me the most? It wasn't really even the losses. It was how I couldn't control my impulsiveness. Like I'd FOMO into setups that just didn't meet any of my criteria. Like I'd recall my rules and I'd be scared to miss the move. And other times I'd just freeze up and watch a perfect setup unfold, literally just hesitate, wait too long, jump in too late, and now my risk to reward is upside down, right? But I still try to force it. I still try to squeeze something out of nothing. And I guess I was just constantly chasing price, constantly overthinking, second guessing, regretting for not entering a move. And then once I entered a move, I would over leverage because I missed the last move. And honestly, it was exhausting. It was mentally draining.
If you do this consistently, in other words, out of, for example, 100 trades. Now, I do about 20 trades a month on average. So it takes me about 5 months to do 100 trades, okay? Out of 100 trades, again, my win rate is, say, 60% win rate. So I'm gonna win 60 trades. I'm gonna lose 40 trades, okay? Now, each time I lose $1, right? Or whatever I'm willing to invest or trade. When I win at least $2, right? Why? Because like I mentioned, we fix our stop loss and our profit target, and we only take the trade if we have a risk to return ratio of at least 1 to 2. So what happens now? Okay, so I lose $40. I make $120. So you do the maths. What's 120 minus 40? $80. So I know that, you see, whenever I make a trade, I've got no idea whether it's a win or loss. In a short term, I may have a losing streak, I may have a winning streak. That's called luck, okay? But over many trades, of at least 100 trades, for example, I know I always win because of the statistics being in my favor. I'll make $80. In other words, if I'm betting $1 for a trade and I'm betting $100, I'm getting $80 back. That's an 80% return, okay? in 100 trades, which is about 5 months. Okay? Now, of course, there's no guarantee that you're going to win 60%. Now, what if the worst case scenario happens and you get a string of bad luck, right? And your win rate only goes down to 50%. If your win rate goes down to 50%, it means that out of 100 trades, you win 50, you lose 50, right? But because of the risk to return ratio, the way we rig the market, guess what? We are losing 50 bucks, but we are winning double. We are winning 100 bucks. So net, I still make $50. Out of $100, that's still a 50% return. So that, my friend, is the essence of how professional traders, we rig the stock market so we always make money consistently at the end of the day. And that's how we grow our income and our wealth. Hope you enjoyed that.